Hey, Leilani with The Magical Solution here. So I wanted to make a part 2 to my video about spirits not being our property. It was a stitch from Papa Hector, right? So I got a lot of feedback because, like I had said in the first video, it sounds very like appropriative. It sounds very culture vulture-y. It sounds, very colonized. Like it's a perspective that if you don't really understand the root of it, it's going to come across wrong, right? So one of the things that, for example, one of the things that I got commented on was, why is it considered cultural appropriation when a Wiccan or an eclectic practitioner wants to work with a spirit from a closed practice, but it's okay for a spiritualist or a spiritist or an espiritista to work with a spirit from a closed practice? And my answer to that question or to that comment is, it's not. It's not okay. I never said it was okay. As a matter of fact, one of the things that, at least for me, I can't speak for all, for all spiritualists, but at least for me, when I'm in Misa or when I'm giving a reading and I get messages or I get images or I get communication from an energy that has a particular vibe of a spirit from a closed practice, I'm absolutely going to say that. I'm going to say, look, I don't have license to speak on this particular spirit. However, the vibe that I'm getting, the imagery that I'm getting, the energy that I'm getting, the symbolism that I'm getting, all of that stuff really reminds me of what I know about this particular spirit from this particular closed practice. Now, mind you, I only know surface level because, again, it's a closed practice and that particular spirit is very multidimensional, and whatever little bit I know is going to be what is available to the public. And this particular spirit that is coming through in this Misa or in this reading or whatever happens to have some of those qualities. So you might want to look into it, or you might want to go get a reading from someone from that closed practice, or you might want to do some research to see if that resonates with you, right? So these are some of the things that, as a spiritualist, you want to make sure you are being conscientious of, because, again, from our perspective, we have access to all spirits because we see spirit first before we see anything else. And so those spirits may come through in readings, but when it comes to relaying those messages, we don't have license to relay those messages without going through those proper channels. And so we'll make that clear, or at least the responsible spiritualist will make that very clear. They'll say, look, I'm not channeling, let's use Oshun for example, since she's so popular. They'll say things like, I'm not channeling Oshun, I'm not claiming to channel Oshun. However, the energy that I am getting is a river energy, does resonate with certain qualities that you may have seen Oshun resonate with. So you might need to go see a Babalawo, or you might need to go see a priest in that tradition to further inquire. And I'll end it at that. You know what I'm saying? So there's things like that that needs to be understood. No one is saying that because we are spiritualists and because we don't believe in spirits being closed, and because we don't believe that we don't have access to things, that doesn't mean we go around just claiming everything or working with energies that are not a part of our culture. That is very much not what I'm saying. So it's really important that I make that clear, because the previous video, it was just kind of talking about a particular perspective from Espiritismo and Spiritism, but I didn't go any further in terms of what we actually do with that information. So I wanted to make that clear here. Another thing that had come up was, this idea that, again, people think that spirits, that they possess spirits, that they have control over spirits, that they have ownership over spirits, right? And so I've gotten a few comments of things like, oh, you know, you guys, you know, you're always trying to repackage stuff, you're always trying to take things from us, you know, like, damn, you know, we can't have nothing, you know, like, you always take everything. And my initial thought to that response, to that comment was, no one's trying to take anything, or at least I'm not trying to take anything. But at the same time, if you listen to what I was saying, at the core, at the root of it, none of this belongs to us anyway. So, like, when you say things to me like, oh, you can't let us have anything, it's not up to me to let you have something or not let you have something. It isn't ours to begin with. Spirits are not ours to possess, because spirits are autonomous energies. They are liberated. When they are disincarnated from a body, they are liberated. And they're not bound by anything. As a matter of fact, part of our job as espiritistas is to help spirits who are still bound. Spirits who are still attached to the material. Spirits who still think that they have issues that are material issues, or spirits who think that they are still part of particular family lines or particular cultures or whatever. It's our job to educate them and counsel them out of that, because they are not bound by anything. So when I hear people say to me, oh, you know, you're just trying to take this from us, or you're not letting us have this by saying this, that's not my job. That's not my job. I'm only telling you a perspective that, or a code, or an ethical value that we live by. And, you know, if it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine, you know, but just from our perspective, these spirits don't belong to us anyway. There's nothing to possess. There's nothing to be taken from us. So when we say things like, oh, this is our culture, that spirit is part of us, yes, that's true in this lifetime, and you can resonate with that spirit in this lifetime, but once they're disincarnated, there is a certain level of freedom that we need to allow. We need to let go. We need to not cling on to certain things, because that does more damage than good for the spirit. Not for us. I mean, yeah, it can do more damage than good for us, but more so for the spirit. For us, lineage, tradition, culture is actually very, very important, because it helps us to link our history back to a source, right? And that's a beautiful thing. It also helps us to, you know, keep language, to keep music, to keep all kinds of things going, and that's a beautiful thing, and we don't want to stop that. Diversity is something that we don't want to stop, because diversity is natural. Diversity is part of spirit, okay? But what I'm saying is that we don't possess that. Once they shed that material body, they also shed all the things that go with it. And it is cultural appropriation to be outside of a culture and think that just because you see spirit the way that I do, that now all of a sudden you can just go and start working with Oshun, or go and start working with Loa. No, that's not what I'm saying. You still have to go through the proper channels, because when those spirits are manifesting in that way, it is because they want you to go through that particular channel. If they didn't want you to go through that particular channel, they would have manifested to you in a different way. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I'm Leilani, this is Magical Solution, and this is how we grow.